Welcome back to my channel, Art with Tia. And today we're going to be reading, guys. I know I personally have always been very obsessed with reading and with books. I've been obsessed with them since I was a child. I used to write books. Once I graduated from college, I just started to pick up that hobby of reading again. And since I'm starting back up my art YouTube channel, I decided why not just fill my channel with the things that I love besides my art, which is reading and books. Okay, so that's why we're here today, because today I wanted to do a reading vlog. If you're familiar with BookTube, Book Talk, I'm always wanting to know what's a good suggestion. And the book we have here today, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. I saw so many good reviews about this book. Even the hardest critics I see on, my social media rated this book 5 stars. So I had to get it. I love fantasy. I do love a little bit of dash of romance. I do love a bit of dash of mystery. It's already given me those vibes, and so I'm really ready to read it. So this is just gonna be me doing my reading vlog, me updating you on the process of how I'm feeling in real time, and then just give a review afterwards. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty fun, pretty cozy. Okay, so I guess we'll talk about what I have read so far. I got my notes here on my handy dandy iPad. So basically, I'm about 50 pages in, and the main plot line is about a woman, a researcher named Emily Wilde. Emily Wilde just mainly cares about her research and her dog. She's very one-track minded. She is traveling to a Scandinavian country to research fairies so she can create her encyclopedia, the first fairy encyclopedia to exist in that world. She works as a professor at Cambridge University, and she does have a coworker she doesn't like too much, but she would at the same time consider him her only friend. She thinks that the way that he conducts research is a bit unconventional. He kind of takes advantage of his students a bit and does make them do a lot of the work, sometimes even falsifies his research, and he actually joins her on this trip to research fairies. And she obviously has a lot of discrepancies with this man. They do clash, but the reason that she is actually tolerating him and him at work and him especially on this trip with her is because she also has reason to believe that he is a fairy and he is just hiding amongst humans. And the book, you guys, is really, really, really interesting. It's one of those books where you feel like you're there. They're very descriptive with the environment. I'm very immersed into what's happening. It gives very much cozy vibes. I just want to pick up this book first before I go to sleep. What I didn't expect is to be so interested in the fairy lore in this book. There's so many of them, and she's so knowledgeable on these fairies, obviously being very dedicated to her research. She knows maybe some of their weaknesses. She knows so much folklore and stories about them. And so it's aiding in a lot of different areas. I've read a lot of fantasy novels and stuff like that, but I think this is my first novel that has to do with fairies. And yeah, I don't know if this is there's whole fairy lore that follows this book and that follows other different books too. I don't know if this is a consistent thing, but it's so interesting. It's kind of written out as if she's writing in her research journal. She's writing about what she's doing that day, the conversations and the situations that are going around with the local people in that village. She even has footnotes that give you a bit more information on what she's talking about, and it actually references books or other forms of research. So she's referencing it back and citing her sources or something. Very, very well written, very, very descriptive. So far, so good. I'll probably be checking in the next 50 to 100 pages and updating you guys on whether I'm liking it. If you've read this book, let me know how you felt about it. We'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back. Hey everybody, so we're going to do a quick intermission because I just got these new filing things and I'm gonna use them as bookshelves for my books. This is what my collection of books is looking like right now, and I just wanted to find a cute way to organize them where I'm not actually getting like a huge bookshelf. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cute. Okay, so not gonna lie, I feel like these shelves are low-key pointless because I literally could have stacked the books like this, like without the help of the shelves. And honestly, the shelves make it more inconvenient because when you put a heavy book at the top, it just like folds over a little bit. You know, it's that. I thought they would be more stable than that. So that's kind of upsetting. I'm gonna put some decoration to make me feel better. This is a ceramic pumpkin thingy that I made with my friends. We each had one and then we like switched and painted each of the little sections. I don't think that looks bad. I think this kind of works. It doubles over a little bit, but Lord, if this like stayed up like this, oh, this would be perfect. This would be my dream. I guess that'll do. And this one can go right here. But I think that looks pretty cute. Like, I'm not totally mad at this. This is kind of giving. And it kind of makes having the shelves not seem so pointless. This is cute. I love it. Also, don't judge me too much by my book choices. Listen, some of these are like 2 stars, some of these are 5, some of these are 3. This does make me nervous for like the other books I decide to buy, because what if they're big chunky books and I can't fit them at the top? So, or maybe I just need to go to the dang library. I'm also gonna leave my commonplace journal on this shelf too. It's hella dirty, don't look at it. Okay, so I'm a little bit over halfway done. After I hit that halfway mark, I've just been kind of zooming through the rest of it, and I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit before I get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The themes are still there where she is struggling with people, but she is developing empathy for the people in the village and the issues that the village people have, like with the fairies that are there. And it's not just reflected with the people in the village, it's reflected with Wendell as well. she's obviously not that great with people, and romantically it's like a whole other thing, so it's quite cute. When I first saw people talking about this book, they said it was a super cozy read, very light and whatever, but I'm like, it actually gets really crazy in this book. A little dark as well, like wasn't expecting that, but I like it. It's good. The stakes are very much there. You just kind of like respect the main character a little bit because how she like knows her stuff, because these like are very powerful, very dangerous. And you like see the lengths that Emily will go to for research. The critiques I was having towards getting into the middle of it, they kind of like, oh, okay. Like they've kind of like resolved themselves. Like I don't really have those same critiques anymore. We do meet like a lot more different kinds of fairies. I had to take down notes because of how many different types there are. There also is this cute little thing about the fairies and how you give them gifts, and they give you stuff in return, or like you barter and trade with the fairies, and it's really cute and interesting. Some fairies like chocolates, some of them like mirrors, like some of them like toys and trinkets. It's just like this very cute little like trade type jam that is like normal. Some fairies are much more crueler than others too, and like it's kind of like normalized. There's like so many different like kingdoms or realms, and there's this one part where the main character talks about how some realms continually travel, others stay in a stable position. You have to go to different locations to find that specific realm. Like it's so expansive. I stopped at a part where I think she's about to make this like she just did something pretty drastic, and like there were already like drastic things happening back to back to back, but she has now done something very drastic and about to go someplace that honestly she has no business being at. But yeah, and I had to stop there before I got too far ahead. I don't know, my bookmark fell out. I don't know possibly what is going to happen there, but I don't know. I just know it's going to be crazy. So we have this ancient fairy king trapped in the tree, okay? And at first he wants Wendell, but they get away. But now, after being enchanted, Emily literally like chops her finger off the part of her body where she's enchanted. So she's no longer like controlled by this enchantment, but still goes to the ancient fairy king's tree anyways, just to see what he wants. She's insane. Like she's actually cuckoo. Such an interesting character. When she was in that fairy realm and literally made it seem like she was enchanted, so she can just, and then she just walked straight into there. I was very much gagged. And also the reveal that Shadow is like not really a dog. Like he's kind of like her protector in a way, and how she like rescued him. I thought that reveal was really cool. I also really enjoyed that portion of the book where they were on their way to find the woman and her lover because they were taken by the tall ones or the hidden ones, and she gets stopped by these, I think they were traveling fairies or something like that. She described them as animalistic and like not as smart as other fairies, and how like they will like literally eat you, and how when she called for Wendell, that man literally just like killed them all. He just killed them all and enjoyed it. It was just so, I don't know why that scene just made me laugh a little bit, because how she still hadn't seen him as fairy royalty. She saw him as Wendell. So when she saw him killing all those fairies and like enjoying it because they were coming after her, that was definitely like an interesting scene and an interesting development in their relationship. It was just good, y'all. It was good. It was too good. I'll happily read some more right now, and I'll be back soon to talk more about it, or like give you my final review once I'm done. All right, hello everybody. We're back. I just finished the book. Actually, I finished it. I'm gonna be real for a second, okay? I finished it a couple weeks ago, and I'm just now recording this partly because I just needed a moment, okay? I needed a moment to reflect. And let me go get the book first. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so we're back with the book. I'm going to ramble, so I hope my thoughts are as coherent as possible. We're gonna try to do our best here. I had a good time reading this book. It was enjoyable. It was my first time reading like a fairy fantasy book, so in the fairy genre, and I'm not mad at it. The lore was kind of heavy. However, I still had fun. I still was very invested, and I basically could stay engaged with what was going on. Also, I would say that the book did start out kind of slow. I told my sister I was reading this, and she personally is having a hard time getting into it. But me personally, I don't mind a slow beginning as long as there's payoff to it. Okay, so I'll start off by saying this. I think that Emily and Wendell's relationship was a very nice breath of fresh air. I was really invested in their dynamic, in their friendship. And I thought a special part, really special part of the book was their dynamic. Although it wasn't the main point of the book, it wasn't the main focus, it did add that really, really sweet charm to it. You know, the setting being this snowy village, and I just liked them as characters, and I just liked the way they responded to each other. I think at the beginning, when he wrote her that letter, the letter personally cracked me up. I thought the letter was so funny. I thought it was so well written. I thought, okay, I completely understand the dynamic of the relationship. The research element, the writing, I really enjoyed the writing. I think the writing was really, really good. And the banter too. It was just really good. Nobody can take away Miss Heather Fawcett's writing. Her writing is really, really good. What I will say about the third act of the book, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little disappointed by the third act of the book. And that is because there's many reasons, but I feel like number one, the whole entire book, we're introduced to all these kinds of fae, and we're shown and told how dangerous that they can be and how much they have going on in their world. And then towards the end, when the really big thing happens, the way it gets resolved, I'm I don't know, I felt like all these other fairies were just so much more layered. The third art was a bit rushed. It fell a little flat for me. It felt a little weak for me. I also feel like there was so much I thought was interesting that could have been done, but we stayed in these specific places that I was can I move on? I just want to flip the page to see, are we gonna get to this portion that's a bit more interesting that should be explored? And it just wasn't. So I don't know, the whole thing just felt so forced. I was really enjoying the pace when we're leading up to this super huge moment, and what she does to get through that moment I thought was so badass of her. I thought was so pivotal and was so cool. And so where it ends up going, I was I saw this one creator talk about how she felt like the book was kind of a little bit all over the place. The book kind of does feel okay, the day to day, you're just kind of wandering, figuring things out, and there's no big encompassing question that Emily specifically is asking. I didn't mind that at the beginning because it just felt like they were just exploring so many things, and they were solving so many problems that the village people were experiencing. But in the end, it really just did feel all over the place. When he told her, the fairy king said, "You will be my wife," and he kind of just kidnapped her, I was like, okay, interesting. We'll see where this goes. I'm not mad at it. But then where it went, and how she was just under his spell for months or a month, and that's just basically how the third act went. And it went on, and it kept on going on for so long. I was like, oh, get me out of here. This sucks. And I thought it was cute when Wendell asked her to marry him. It was cute. But then she untraps the fairy king, and he also wants to marry her. So now she has two fairy royals trying to marry her. It just got really Wattpad really fast. And listen, I love me some Wattpad. I used to write on Wattpad, but because I used to write on Wattpad, because I used to read Wattpad, I just knew it wasn't it. I was like, okay, this is getting a bit much. I don't know, the book was giving me like a different energy going into it. So when that's the way that they decided to go, I was like, this feels so out of place. I still feel like the third act could have been really good still, but it was continuously like, I barely remember this. I was in a daze. The enchantment. I forget my thought. Like, it was just so much of that. She was trapped there. Not even in a fun way. She was just really trapped there. And I feel like I was a little bit trapped in the third half of the book, too. I felt like I was kidnapped and forced to like stay in this specific spot when I just wanted to get to the interesting portion. The ending really did annoy me. When it comes to me, like I read a book based on vibes, like based on how it made me feel. Like, do I feel like I was having a fun time? Like, do I feel like I was enjoying myself? Was I like invested? And I was. That last part just annoyed me. I had to take off some points. But at the same time, I'm of the mind of it's a trilogy. I'm sure they'll explore the story in new and interesting ways. But the ending of this one didn't make me want to read the second one, or at least not right away. Overall, I would recommend reading this book. I thought it was fun. I thought it was cozy. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't a bad read by any means. I will be giving Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies a 3.9 out of 5. 3.9 out of 5 feels good to me. Okay. Well, now that that's over, if you guys have any other books that you are reading or would recommend that I read, let me know. Drop it down in the comments. I am interested to see what you guys are reading. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey. It was kind of fun. My first little reading vlog. I had fun.